Hello?
Hello, Mideilty here, and I am very happy to share with you the game Ghost Song. To keep this organized and outlined, I have made notes. I have gameplay first, story, what I call the Mideilty factor, the thing that made me play the game in the first place, music, and then the rating of the game. Put it off simply, the gameplay is very fun. I enjoyed it a lot. The things that I would get killed at were 100% my fault. It didn't feel like the game was unfair. There's this cool mechanic in the game where basically your metroid suit called a dead suit basically has power, which you can gain capacity in power, let's say as like a currency that can fill up to power how many weapons you have equipped and how many modules, which are like passive upgrades that you can equip on your suit and have them powered up, right? So the idea is that you hold down on the D-pad because this game is fully focused with controller. If you're using a mouse, I feel like you would have more of a bad experience, right? Because it specifically says even in the main menu that this is meant for controller, right? So you use controller, you hold down on the D-pad, you shut your body off. When you shut your suit off, then you can actually change into, let's say, the different modules, swap them out, equip different weapons, and that basically gauges how many things you can have equipped is how high your power capacity is, which is directly linked to your level, no matter what you level up, which is resolve, vigor, and gunpowder. Gunpowder, exactly what it sounds like. Vigor, health only, and resolve being basically like your secondary like energy bullet count, right? So you have basically an overheat function on your cannon, and then you also have the secondary purple bar, which is like you can, fire as many missiles or as many scabs, which is a device I like, where you shoot eggs that launch flying aliens that will like AoE attack your enemy, even if you're running away or running towards it, right? That is basically that bar that goes down. And basically it's like you overheat and then you use that bar and then, you try to dodge and dash, which you have a dash, which is RB, which of course has invisibility frames because there is no way this game would be playable or be beatable if there wasn't invisibility frames, to be honest, until I see some insane speedrun where it's actually done. A lot of the items, I will say, seem useless. There's a shield they give you that's supposed to stop projectiles, but the health is so little and there's no way to upgrade it that it didn't seem worth it. And having that shield equipped actually takes away you having a melee, which sucks. So when you get to there's only a couple, I would say, weapons that are super useful. I won't give the description, but I'll give the name. The pain wheel I saw was super useful. And then basically Hudson's blank, that was really good and had a lot of power. And when you're using those melee weapons, then it starts using your stamina meter. So there's a stamina meter also in the game. So you have health, your magic, your mana, right, which is your secondary fire, and then stamina, which is for your melee, your sprinting, which you can get, which is holding RT, right trigger at a point, and then dashing. You get the first dash for free. There's a bar that fills up. When it fills up, you can use the dash again, but if you keep using the dash, it will take like half your stamina away, right? Use a ton of stamina to give you those extra visibility frames. So with the gameplay, it's like a metroidvania. You find tools to open different, to break different materials, that break different passages, that break easier shortcuts to get to there faster when you backtrack, right? So even if the game has backtracking, it rewards you by making the backtracking faster. Specifically, there are parts in this game where you can't fast travel and you have to make it from point A to B. And the system that they've created is that certain enemies will not spawn, or the correct term is would not activate, because you can see these enemies in the world until you have a certain item, right? Where then they'll turn on and they do a ton of damage by exploding pretty much, right? So with that, the gameplay is very good. I enjoyed it a ton. It kept me invested. I like the upgrades. I like the sense of accomplishment with, any type of these dodge and visibility frame games where, you can't get hit. So the goal is to get better at not getting hit at all, and kind of looking at the game more like a rhythm game than anything, to be honest, because it's all rhythm when it comes to an enemy's attack pattern. It comes to the range that they have an AoE, so it's kind of a rhythm of like, okay, you jump here after he does this, and you jump here, and you just keep repeating that until you basically kill them, right? Is that ideal with a lot of these bosses? Some of these bosses I could not kill, or I didn't because they were very optional. There's a lot of optional bosses, which I like. They were doing some electric AoE stuff that I was just like, I don't want to deal with this. It's like, I just want to enjoy the rest of the game. And so if I probably played this game and try to beat those bosses, I'd be over 10 hours for sure, because those bosses were actually horrible with my brain. I just couldn't get it figured out, or I haven't found an item that would make me immune to electricity or something, right? But the game for me was about a little over 9 hours. Here's the exact time. And other than that, being a little over 9 hours, the game's only $20 on Steam. I'd say it's worth your money just gameplay wise alone. So let's go to story. So with story, it's kind of a mystery thing. If you rush through the main story and try to get it done as fast as possible, you'll probably not be able to solve like who your character is, what has happened to the world. But the more you actually explore, try to talk to NPCs, you hit these markers in the game where you're like, okay, you've reset to the next day, right? The next chapter in the story. And then you want to talk to all the NPCs again to get more story from it. The story also is more interesting, and I remember it more specifically because it's just a mixture of text and voice acting. This is an indie game. It's got an indie budget, but the voice acting I thought was good. I had no problem with the voice acting. I thought it was good, and it wasn't detracting. So if the voice acting wasn't detracting for me, I'd probably say it's fantastic in my eyes until I start playing more games and I can actually compare these, right? But for what I was listening to, it was very good and I was enjoying it a lot. The story is very dark and macabre, but I like that type of story. I like the elements that it's like sci-fi supernatural. So while you have like intergalactic planets and human civilization being on several planets and several distant star systems, ghosts are still a thing. Supernatural and souls are still a thing. It's just with a sci-fi context now. The Mideilty factor for me was the art style. I saw the art style. I saw that it was kind of 2D, dark, almost reminded me of like Child of Eden. And because of that, it was automatically what was getting me to click on it, because I didn't listen to the music. The music, which is the last thing I'll talk about, is very, very good. The music, I'd probably listen to the OST just for fun, because I love ambient guitar music. It's very much like Chords of Orion, which is a YouTube channel, check them out. Music also was very similar to Haven's music, which is another sci-fi game that I recommend you play. It's very fun. I enjoyed it a lot. And apparently it's got a lot of updates to it that have added new stuff to it. So I guess the version to play now is even better than the one I played. So you should definitely check out Haven after you check Ghost Song out. But the rating for this game I'll give is a 9 out of 10. Now that's very high, but I need a starting point in Metroidvanias to compare. And I'm already looking at maybe a couple like Bloodstained that I might be playing, or The Legend of Tiandine. That's what I was about to be playing next, which I think is also a Metroidvania. That's possibly the next one I'm going to be playing. When I have a tier list, which I'll make in my next review, I can rank these games and push them down and up or in the middle, so then I can get a good idea of how good this might have been. It could be even better, or if it is worse in aspects that I played that is better in different games, so that I can change my own tier list with every game. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you play Ghost Song, and I'll see you in the static.